This is nice, isn't it? I'm on the couch, nice and relaxed. Coach on the couch. I thought we'd come back for the second edition of Coach on the Couch for a couple of reasons. Mainly the sunlight upstairs in the upper window just lights my face up and makes me look like a mirror rather than a human. So let's do it on the couch. Let's chill out. Let's talk about 10 kilometers this week and running and all things life, exercise, whatever you want to ask. So hi, Sean. How you doing? Hopefully we are getting Mary in as well on this live stream tonight because we're talking 10 kilometers. That is, I suppose that's the kind of first distance that Mary started with was 10 kilometers. That was her first ever race, and actually she won it. It was the Pancake run in Celebration in Florida, and I wanted her to jump into this meeting. This is not a meeting. I wanted her to jump into this live stream, but she's still at work, but she might pop in when she gets back and talk about her experiences of 10K and the plans that she has and the things she goes through when she's running. And I'm going to do the same for you as well and talk about all the things that I think you could think about when you're running a 10-kilometer race, because it's a very different distance to half marathon and it is a very different distance to 5K. And there are subtle training differences and things that you would do on the day that may be different. So we'll jump into that in a minute, but I'll just say hello to everyone as well. Hi, Andy and Jack, Danny, Richard, Chris. Nice to see you all. Good to be here. Thanks for dropping by. And Barry as well. Hello, Barry. How's it going? So first of all, let's talk my video on Sunday. It was a bit of a Debbie Downer of a video, and I'm sorry for that, but I do also believe in being warts and all type documenting of my life, and I am 99% of the time energetic, positive, but I suppose last week just got to me really, and I needed to share that just in case anybody else was feeling the same way. And as it turned out, very, very many of us are feeling the same way, and it's just lovely to have that sense of community and know that other people are struggling, and then we can struggle together, and a problem shared is a problem halved. And I do believe that none of this toxic masculinity when I'm involved. I don't believe in like keeping your mouth shut and trying to get on with it, because that's how people get into trouble psychologically. I'm very open and very honest. And I just thank everybody in the comments on that video for being the same, open and honest, and sharing their thoughts and their worries and their woes. But we're back on it. I've been training this week. I've been trying to get ready for my first of the big 5, which is next weekend. Hi, Melissa as well. And hi, Ashley. Oh, you've never raced a 10K before. You've done halves and a full marathon, but you're going to give 10K a shot as well. Jody and Lou and Steve, hello. Good to see everyone. Yes, so let's talk about 10K, shall we? It is a different distance for many reasons. So I would liken running a 10K very much to the feeling of running a 5K, that type of pain, but for longer. I don't know how else to explain it really. It's not a nice feeling, I'll be honest, but there are some things you can do to make it better than it could be. And we all learn our lessons, and I've certainly learned my lesson over the years running 10Ks. I've been very fortunate to win a few races. It's the only distance I've won some park runs, but it's the only distance I've ever officially won an official race. So I'm very proud of that. And I'll talk you through my strategies that I have when it comes to 10K. The first thing I do is a lot of my training when I'm training for 10Ks are high intensity intervals above the pace that I would want to run the 10K at, but for very short distances or amounts of time. So for example, I would say when I got my PB, which is at Brighton, my average pace per kilometer was, I think, is about 340 per kilometer. And I was aiming to run in my training. I was trying to do intervals of 10, 15, 20 seconds, minute of about 320, 310, 330, things that are above my pace that I would be able to hold for a 10-kilometer race. A, to let my body know how it feels. And B, just to get that speed in there, to wake up the speed in the legs, so that on the day, it's kind of why we do strides. It's kind of why we do strides after sessions. but to get that feeling on the day of, okay, actually 340 is manageable because I've run 320. It doesn't matter that I've only run it for a minute. I've run it. I know what it feels like. I can hold this. So that's my first thing. That's how I build up to it in training, is I do lots of higher intensity interval sessions in the lead up to a 10K, as well as all of my base work. Hello, Winona as well, and Jody, and 578. What's your name? We talk, but it just says 578, so I don't know what your actual name is. My PB for a 10K is 36:42. I don't know if I'll ever get back to that. And Stuart, nice to see you. I don't know if I'll ever get back to that. Not because I don't think I'm capable. I actually think I could run faster than that if I wanted. But I'm really fascinated with the marathon distance, and it seems with my legs, training exclusively for one or the other I'd have to do that. I wouldn't be able to do a bit of everything. It's just my body's not compatible with that. And some people they are. Some people you can do. You could really train for a little bit of everything and get PBs over everything. But, if I'm training for a marathon, I take the intensity down and I put the volume up. And so I lose some of that pace that I would need for a 10K PB. Whereas if I was training for a 10K PB, I certainly wouldn't be running marathon distances, a probably maximum of 15K on my long runs, and then focusing on tempo sets and interval sets. So my training would be very different. And I don't know if I'll ever go back to the 10K exclusively. It was while I was kind of building for a few years, while I was like feeling my way through the distances, I guess. So Winona's got confirmation yesterday that one of your 10K races in July is still going ahead with staggered start times. That's amazing. That's fantastic. That's really exciting that there's a race still going on. So that's really kind. It's really nice. I actually have a 10K booked in, but it's virtual, sadly. It's the one that I have won the last 3 years in a row. It's the only race I've ever won. The only 10K I've ever won, called the Celebration 10K Pancake Run. And it's held in Celebration, Florida, which is like a Disney town. I don't know if you've seen the video that I've done on it, running it last year. Mary and I ran it. I absolutely love it. It's like my favorite race in the whole world, and I'm going to run it virtually. And maybe if everyone else wants to do that, you can run it virtually, and we can all submit a time, and it would help the charity and the town of Celebration. That would be something nice. If people decided that they were looking for a virtual 10K, then the Celebration 10K would be, check it out. It's on Facebook. My nose is really itchy. I think I've got something like some hay fever. So sorry that I keep touching it. Mary tells me off if I keep touching my nose, but I feel like I've got hairs up there. I have got hairs up there, but ones that shouldn't be up there. And forget it. Gary, question about trail trainers. Which ones do you use? What ones do you wear? Oh, and in what conditions? Right now, when I'm going out on trail and I'm just running in my road trainers at the moment, but I do have Saucony trail trainers, and I tend to use them all the way through the winter for my longer slogs when I'm going off-road, which I try to for the majority of the time, purely just to give my legs a breather. But Saucony are a good brand, I found. Certainly their trail shoes are pretty decent. So where was I at? I was at 10K running and running the Celebration Pancake Run. My PB, don't know if I'll ever get back there again. We've talked about how I train for a 10K, but what about how I execute on the day? So that's a slightly different one, because as with a 5K, my plan tends to be run at about 95% of my max for the first kilometer or kilometer and a half, just to, and get a really good warm up, get my heart rate up in the warm up. Otherwise you're playing catch up from the start. Then I just hold on in a 5K. 10K is slightly different. I know some people that run 5Ks aim to negative split, but it's just, I don't think it's in me to my body to do that. But if you don't know what a negative split is, it's what a lot of the professional runners try to do over their distances, which is run the second half of whatever distance they're doing, whatever race they're doing, faster than the first half. And it's almost a psychological tactic as well. It ensures that you hold just something back. You keep your powder dry, and then you can hit it hard in that second half. And I tend to do that for a 10K. I'm very strict on my heart rate as well. When I start a 10K race, I kind of every year at the celebration run, I would tend to look at my heart rate as I've gone off for the first 400-500 meters, and it is usually pretty high pretty quickly. And I then focus on bringing it down for the next half of a kilometer and making sure that I'm running within myself enough that I've got something for the last kind of 3-4 kilometers. And the reason for that is that what I tend to see, my experience of 10-kilometer running tends to be is people can't hang on as well as they can for a 5K. You can, with a little bit of grit, a little bit of determination, a little bit of closing your eyes and going for it. In a 5K, if you've mistimed it, you tend to be able to just about get away with it on occasion. Whereas 10K, no chance. 10K, if you have gone too hard too soon, you will quite dramatically fall off. Usually I see it from about the 7-kilometer point, and you know, I start picking people off if it's a race where there's a lot of better runners than me. And I have obviously done it myself also, really dropped off because I've gone too hard at the start. And those are experiences you learn from. But that's why I have negative split in my head. It doesn't always work. But even if I can get my first and second half of the race very similar, I'm very happy. So I tend to have a heart rate plan and I tend to have a pacing plan. I know what I would need to run to get a PB in terms of pace, and I try and stick to that as long as it feels comfortable. Right, let's have a look at some questions. EHM is still on in September. What is EHM? Something half marathon, Andy? I don't know. Should I know? I probably should know. I don't know. How much should you reduce the distance you run for a recovery week, Jack? I would cut it by 50% if I were you, or if you're doing intensity stuff, I'd just take the intensity out. There is no harm in just keeping things ticking over in a recovery week, because it's when your body properly repairs itself. So yeah, I tend to reduce time on feet. I tend to reduce. So if I'm training 10 hours one week, I'll aim to train 5 in my recovery week. It's somewhere in that region. It's not a hard and fast rule, but I certainly don't want. I'd rather undertrain than overtrain in my recovery week, because you can always make it up. If you're overtraining your recovery week, the next block is awful. So Gary, Derby 10K is on in October. You know what? I'm hoping the London Marathon is on, but I'm sure it's not, but we haven't heard that it's cancelled yet. Matt, hello. Guesstimate for 10K pace would be to take your 5K PB, double it, and add a minute. 18, 36, 42. Yes, mine. I suspect that my 5K PB and my 10K PB were at different points in my running journey. So actually, my 5K PB is 18, and if I doubled that, it is 36. But my 10K PB is 36:42. So it's actually only 6 seconds slower than my doubling my 5K PB. But I actually believe that I could have run a 5K a lot quicker than 18 at some point. But I was never in that right shape at that right time. I actually run the 5K PB during my taper for my first ever half Ironman. But it is yeah, you're right, Matt. That is a really good rule of thumb, is double it and add a minute is about right. You know, and that shows you if you've got your aerobic base in there as well. Tends to be that people that drop off significantly from 5 to 10 and then 10 to half, which I see a lot, and it's nothing, you know, it's not a bad thing, but it's nothing to do with the speed work. It's more to do with the base. The aerobic base is not yet able to handle that step up in distance and then maintaining the speed on top. So if you drop off significantly from your 5 to 10, it's base work is needed rather than speed work. Now, Andy, Great North Run is cancelled. Do I have a benchmark 10K workout to do before a race to make sure I'm confident of a certain time? For example, 1K repeats. Steve, good question. I don't have a benchmark. Well, I suppose I do really. Yeah, I I like to do a couple of different workouts before my 10K to see what it feels like at running at paces. One of them is a very simple, really near the event, a good 10-minute warm up, and then it's 10 minutes of 30 seconds at hard and 30 seconds easy and repeat. So I do 10 lots of that, and I mark kind of how it feels to be running at that pace even for 30 seconds. So that's a shorter interval one nearer the event during the taper. And I would say a different session that I like to do is there is a 5K pace interval one that I sometimes do. And it's all about, that one is all about learning to negative split as well. Actually, I have made a video about it. It is an interval video on the channel. It is one of the running videos, but it's from memory, because I haven't done it for a while. It's something like you run 5K, you run 5 minutes at your 5K, preferred 5K pace, and then 2.5 minute rest. And then you do 4 minutes at that pace and 2 minutes rest. So the rest is always half the amount of time you're working, and you go up to the top of the pyramid. I think actually, no. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you come up and down the pyramid, and all of those, you kind of have a look at the pace that you're running, and your aim should be to run faster coming down the side of the pyramid than going up it. So again, learning to negative split, learning to conserve energy, learning to build in. Those are the two workouts that I would tend to do nearer a 10K run to get some real intervals and to get a feel for how it's going to feel. In terms of fueling, I don't actually fuel during a 10K. I don't personally think that you need to. As long as you fuel and hydrate before you run, you don't need to take on any water. You don't need to take on a gel in a 10K. In theory, you can get away with it. You've got enough in the tank that your body should be able to do that for you. So I don't do any fueling necessarily, other than having a coffee before I go, because caffeine is an absolute winner for me. So that's, in a nutshell, I guess that's 10K. That is how I approach my 10Ks, how I train for my 10Ks, how I run my 10Ks on the day, how I pace them. I make sure that I am always in control of my heart rate. That is a big thing, I suppose. By the last 5K of a 10K, the heart rate does tend to spiral upwards a little, and that's all right. There's nothing you can do about that when you're on your limit, because 10K is hard running. It's not, you don't approach a 10K like a half marathon. You have to kind of hold something back on a half marathon, whereas for a 10K you have to go hard. Certainly if you want to, if you're looking for a PB anyway. So questions, Jack's building up your mileage, but just running easy. You run for 3 weeks and then have a recovery week when you know you'll have to not increase your distance. When will I know when to not increase your distance? Well, what are you building for? Because you would only know when you know what you're actually building for. That's important. So you wouldn't just continually increase your distance. If you're building for a half marathon, you get up to about 18K, you run the race, and then, you come down the other side and you can build up again. But you don't just continually build distance. I guess you have to have something in mind. Otherwise, you are going to overtrain. You are going to get fatigued. Mary's just turned up. She probably doesn't want to be on camera yet, but okay, she's going to pop in and talk to you about her 10K experience. And it's quite good that she hasn't heard me talk about mine, so that she can kind of give you, hopefully, maybe a different perspective, and I'll ask her some questions. Candice, hello. Have I got any advice on how to stay motivated after your race? I do, yeah. Plug in another one pretty damn quick. Always have something on the back burner. I've got 5 events that I am training towards now, and I already know I want to train towards the London Marathon next year. So I've always got something in the pipeline. I never float without a race. I even know I've got Ironman Copenhagen next August already, which is like a year and 2 months away. So I've always got things in the pipeline, always. That's how I keep myself motivated. Haven't paid for them, some of them, but I know I'm training for them in my head. So, Andy, you went for a 12K run on Tuesday. I had to bail out after 6 because your legs felt really heavy. Do I ever get that? No, I don't think I've ever had to bail out of a run. but I tend to put myself in positions where I couldn't bail out of a run if I wanted to, because I do out and backs and circular routes and things like that. So I think there's been a lot of runs where if I had have had the choice, I would have bailed, but I kind of haven't been able to. But I certainly have had a lot of runs where I haven't even gone, which was like last week. I just didn't bother because of all of the mental health stuff, and I was so tired I couldn't do it. So Ashley, Bill, I'm not going to answer your question because I don't think you're actually interested. Ashley, how long a training block do you recommend for a really good 10K effort? Good question. I would say probably two base blocks, two build blocks. So 4, 8, 12, 16 weeks and a taper of 2 weeks. So 17, 18 weeks. That's if you wanted to do it really, really comprehensively. You could always do one build block, one base block, depending on where your fitness levels are, on a 1 week taper. So I just like to take my time on things. I'm a bit weird like that. I never see a rush. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll get to it. And I do take my time on things, but I appreciate that not everyone wants to. And Chris, would you ever run a 7 or 8K before the race at your target pace to see how it feels and to ensure you can keep the pace for that distance? No, never. I never really run race pace in any training sessions. Hello, Mary, come and sit down. Hi. I never really run. I don't see the need, because I think Hi. Right. Oh yeah, you're a bit. Oh no, there you go. That's nice. You can stay there. As soon as she comes in, she starts bossing it. Right. I'll pull this curtain across here so that your face is not. There you go. So everybody say hello to Mary. Hi, Mary. Say hello, Mary. Hi. She's just got home from work. Yeah, I don't tend to run at a race pace during training. I go above or below, but never at. Maybe tempo runs sometimes, but certainly only intervals, never continuous. I wouldn't run 7 or 8K just to see if you can, because I don't see the benefit of it. I think see on the day. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong, and you go, either I need a bit more speed work or I need a bit more aerobic base, but find out on the day. Tends to be race pace training is quite aggressive on your body, and it's I wonder if it's a bit wasted miles. Jody, would I train differently if you could only train on a treadmill? Yeah, I wouldn't train. I would train. I just hate treadmills. I can't. I don't know if I would train differently. I haven't really trained on a treadmill. If I'm brutally honest, I don't know. I just find, I would certainly train with the incline up on a treadmill. That's the only thing we know, isn't it? Like 1 or 2 degrees minimum, because you have to work your calves, because treadmills, you're just lifting your feet, aren't you? You're using totally different muscles than you would on the road, unless you try and do something to combat that, like put an incline up.
Yeah, I don't really.
No. They're quite soul destroying, aren't they? So, sometimes you have to do it. Well, sometimes you have to. Some people live in countries where it snows like 10 months of the year.
We did go on the treadmill on holiday a few times.
Yeah, because so when we go on holiday, when you don't know the area, we tend to train on a treadmill in case we run into a place where I get mugged or something. I mean, that's not likely, is it? But we don't know an area. You don't want to get lost. Do I ever run fasted? You find it helps, and you ran your 10K PB without eating for 30 hours? No, I never race fasted. I sometimes train fasted, but I never have raced fasted. Never. Because I need that energy in me. Maybe it's psychological, but I need it. I feel it in there.
I don't think I would eat for a 5K, but a 10K, I think I would.
Well, why don't we talk about your 10K experiences? So Mary's won the Pancake run twice. She's won the 10K there, and you got your PB in Brighton, which was, what was your PB? Last year, wasn't it?
Oh, more for training. 42 minutes something.
42 something is Mary's PB. Can you why don't you just talk everyone through like how you went about the race, how you planned it, like what did you think about in terms to get your PB? Like,
what, the Brighton one?
Yeah, like what was your thought process?
Well, there's a video on it. which is quite hard. Like, it was hard. Do you remember I nearly cried?
Yeah, you nearly shouted at me.
Because Ben was pacing me. So I knew I had to run I was going for 41:30, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
It was running at 4:11s or 4:12s. And I was totally on pace for 6K, and then I just hit a bit of a wall. And basically what happened was there was this guy running with us because Ben was running and then I was just behind his shoulder.
I forgot about him.
And then this guy was obviously like spotted that we were running at a consistent pace, so dropped in behind Ben, which meant he was right next to me and breathing really heavily and really loudly.
He was going,
not quite like that, but
it kind of was.
It was
the
really
whole race.
off-putting, and then it was at that point I lost my focus.
You got really angry with him.
Angry, so I had to just back off the pace, and then
the adrenaline went too far up because you got angry with someone breathing at you.
Yeah. So I didn't quite hit my target, but I got a PB.
You did get a PB, but what were you like? Did you have a plan going into the race? Did you just want to run consistent?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we didn't think about a negative split for Mary. What we thought about is we know what pace she can hold. And so we tried to run it consistently. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, because 10K, I think just consistency, getting into a good rhythm, a good pattern with your breathing and your focus. And I'll go again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was just saying I probably won't, purely because I certainly won't get my PB because I have to train quite specifically for a 10K. Whereas now I'm kind of running marathons and stuff and Ironman. I don't have those fast twitch fibers. They've changed to slow twitch fibers in the training. So,
but you can change them back.
Yeah, you can, but with focus, and I'd have to go away from the marathon distances. TGP 889. I'm sorry. That sounds really informal. I don't know your name. No, formal. Is the Pancake run on this year? You want a silver medal, assuming I get gold. I'm not getting gold this year because it is on, but it is virtual. So anyone can enter anytime for 6 months.
Tell anyone.
I've given up on thinking that I'm going to win it.
And it would be great because they're really lovely people that organise it. So it would be nice for them to get loads of people running because it's a special event and first time virtual.
Did you turn the sweet potatoes? They need turning.
No.
Oh, would you be able to? All right, so
this is what I get home to. I've been out for 12 hours. It's
a running joke on this channel on this evening that I tell everyone what we're having for dinner. And I started the dinner because Mary was coming home late. But
just sat down.
Yeah, but I didn't know you were coming in this late. I put the sweet potatoes in. Oh, they're gone in. They need to be turned. Sorry, you can come back. Sorry. We're having sweet potato with sausage, fennel, and broccoli. It is like one of our favorite dishes ever. But the sweet potato may be burnt. The Pancake run, it would be tremendous if you all supported them. If people wanted to do a virtual 10K, it's a really worthy cause, a really lovely group of people, and we love it. And we're going to do it every single year we possibly can. So it is on, but virtually. And Jen, hi, nice to see you, and thanks for being part of the channel. It genuinely means a lot, and I love it when we get to talk to people as well and build this sense of community. That's the aim here. 100,000 subscribers is the next stop. All right, maybe 10,000, but I'm just want to build a community and a community feel and people that love running for the right reasons and stay in it for the right reasons. So Melissa, 10K is not my favorite distance. Is 10K your favorite distance, Mary? It was when I was doing it, but now that I've done all of the distances, I would say marathon's my favorite. I love the challenge of a marathon, that body and mind thing, almost like a war of attrition. Mary's still thinking. She'll come back in a minute.
It was my favorite.
Matthew Pullen, what do I use to edit the videos? Final Cut Pro. I use Final Cut Pro. I bought it kind of near the start of this process, and I absolutely love it. And I'll continue to use it. It's really intuitive and I like it. And hello, Jake, how you doing? Mr. Caffeine, what a name. You sprained your ankle and you do all physio activities, still feel the pain. When would you restart training? You've got a doctor's opinion, but what's my review on recovering from injuries? My view is that you have a lifetime. So treat it as... You eating a sweet potato wedge? Are they burnt?
No, I had to turn them.
I know you had to turn them. People just watch that. But are they burnt or are they good?
Good.
Did you turn the oven down?
No, it doesn't need it.
Okay. Why is that one burnt then?
There's one on the edge.
This is hot chat, by the way. I mean, you're so lucky. Look at the conversation we have with regards to sweet potato. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, right. So you've got... Do not train on any pain ever, especially if it's like a sprained ankle. I just don't see any value in that because the chances are it will recur. So my advice is always just take some time out, do something different that doesn't cause your ankle pain, maybe swimming or cycling. I can always get away with cycling with a sprained ankle. So, change it up until there is no pain from running. There's no rush. It really is a lifetime thing. So treat it as such. Don't try and rush back into it. And then, the same thing happens, because when you sprain your ankle as well, not a lot of people know this, but when you sprain your ankle, there is every time a small amount of nerve damage, which kind of resets your proprioception, so your body's brain's opinion of where your ankle and foot land. So every time you damage those nerves, you're kind of almost changing the way your foot lands again, because your brain can't feel it. You almost have to retrain every time you sprain your ankle. And if you don't take your time in recovering, then the chances are that you're going to get injured again, and re-sprain it because you're landing in a different way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So just be careful. That's my advice. What's my caffeine dosage? Less than Mary's.
Guilty.
I have 1 coffee a day. That's it. Mary?
I was on one in lockdown. Mostly.
Still in lockdown.
No, I'm
Yes,
not.
all right, kind of. All right.
Today I've had 3. It's normally 2, but I'm really tired. You can probably tell.
I don't think caffeine caffeine is a drape that goes over tiredness rather than cures tiredness. You're still tired, you just don't feel it, but your body feels it.
I know, but I had been teaching, so
okay. Yeah, we're going back. We're going back to work on Monday full time. Kids are all coming back. That's exciting. Caffeine dosage on a run. I just have a coffee beforehand.
It helps so much, especially if you're hunting a PB. That's my
hunting. If you're hunting a PB,
that's what they call it.
Sounds quite scary. Anyway, we've talked enough. I hope that some of this was valuable. If it was, and you haven't subscribed, we're not a hard sell bunch of people.
Awesome.
What? Oh, just want to say a big thank you. Since lockdown, you've been following the channel and took up running for the first time. Completed your first sub 50-minute 10K last week. Whoop, whoop. Well, thanks for being part of it, Dan. Like, genuine appreciation. I just love.
Right.
Yeah, I love speaking to people. I love the feedback we get, and I like thinking that we're helping people, because that is all we're doing this for. And Akara as well just joined. Wanted to let you know you started running with the 5K plan, completed it, now halfway through the 10K, working towards a marathon. Wow, look at the love. This is awesome. And this is what this is all about. Running is love. Like, we love it, don't we? I mean, I love triathlon. I'm a triathlete, but we both love it. And we just hope that you love it as much as we do. And we hope that you stick around, and we hope that you stay part of this community and don't get bored with us. And if you do get bored with us, rather than, leaving, tell us and we'll do something about it. We don't want people leaving. I want a community. I love this field.
Have you asked for ideas for your Sunday videos? Because
no, we got to go. Like, there's just next Sunday, I'm doing the 260-kilometer on Zwift challenge. It's going to be about 7.5 hours. There will be a Zoom link if people want to drop in and say hi while I'm doing it, and we'll set up the time. So I'll let you know more next Thursday. But thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this 10K special was helpful to people. And thanks so much for all the great feedback as well. And have a really good couple of days, and we'll see you on Sunday. Should we go?
Yeah, have an awesome weekend.
Time to eat.